Hello, this is David from Gibbz Arms. In this video we'll be showing you how to replace your existing upper with our side charging upper. I'll show you how easy it is and all the steps. Okay, first step is obviously safety. We want to make sure that the gun is unloaded before we start messing with it. So we would drop the mag, make sure there's no mag in there, and we would check the chamber to make sure it's not loaded. And traditionally with this style handguard, you would use a tool similar to this to squeeze and pull down on the delta ring. This gun is different, whereas this delta ring just unscrews and moves out of the way. And then you can pull out the rear handguard, or the lower one, and the upper one. So on these style gas blocks, they have a tapered pin. So you'll see the head on one side is, well, it's not really head, but it'll be bigger on one side than the other. And you can see these are smaller. So basically what I'll do is I'll take a punch and a hammer and I'll tap those guys out. And the next thing I'm going to do is to tap the gas block off with the brass hammer. Okay, the next step would be to separate the upper from the lower. With this, it was nice to have that mass down here, but now we got to take the barrel off. So I always take off the back pin first. I just have a little plastic punch that out, and then start the front one. Over, make sure they're all pulled out all the way. And the upper and the lower are separated. Then you just take the charging handle out. The bolt comes with it. Set that aside as well. And now the upper is ready to go on the upper block. As we'll put the upper on, then we'll put the pin in there. And then what you can do at home is you can take your bolt out and use it to support the back end. We just have a tool that we've machined for that. So just slide it in there. Now your upper is nice and locked. So the first thing we're going to do is undo the flash hider muzzle device. So we'll take our wrench here, torque it down, and just remove that. Set that aside for later. And then over here we can pull out the gas block and the little handguard retainer. Okay, on this one, like I said, it screws, so we can just remove that. And now what we're going to do is use our tool to untorque the barrel. So this one, you got to be a little careful. If you let your wrench move this way, these little pins are going to pop out, possibly damage your barrel nut, and most certainly damage your tool. So you gotta, I kind of hold it in and nice and flat, and while you're torquing on it, you want to look at it and make sure you're going straight. And from there, it just spins off nice and easy. You set that aside, and now your barrel can come out. So now we're pretty much done with this old upper. We're going to switch to the new upper, so we're going to put the new upper in that position. So on the Gibbz handguard, you have a handguard adapter which has the barrel nut already in there. So you can time this and then torque the barrel nut separately. So we're going to slide that on. So you slide it all the way on, and then you back it off to where this gas tube saddle is lined up with the hole in the upper. What I like to do is just kick it off, unscrew it just a little bit. So then we'll take our handguarded tool that comes with the handguard, and we will just tighten things up by hand. And like I said, I like to have it a little bit off this way, because then I can add that last little bit of torque to line it back up. So anyway, so I have everything nice and finger tighted. The nice thing about this handguard is it doesn't put a lot of strain on your upper, because you can use a big old crescent wrench to hold the adapter in place. And so I'm not torquing on the upper like you would on a lot of other handguards. And then I get my torque wrench. I set my torque. I personally set it to 55 foot-pounds. And then I hold my hand guard adapter with the crescent and torque on until it clicks. I take the handguard body and see how well it lines up with the upper, and as you can see, it's off. So what I'll do is I'll just slide it back a little bit, give it a little bit of torque. I'm just feeling it back here just to see what movement I get out of it, and then I put it here, and then I look down the end of it to see how lined up it is. Needs a little bit more. There, that's perfect. Now I've got to install the gas block and the muzzle device. Now with this gas block, the handguard actually extends past it, and so we can't actually use this gas block. So what we're going to do is swap out the gas block with one of these low profile ones that fit underneath the handguard. So that's what we'll do. And what's involved in that, just real quick, right here there's a little roll pin that we'll push out. We won't use that same roll pin again. We've got a few here. You're gonna wanna, there's two things. This is the roll pin hole. You can see because it's got two crimps on both sides. And this is the actual gas port hole. You can tell by all the scoring, carbon buildup right there. And then in the gas block you have a little port there. So you gotta line up that port with there. I like to use one of these cup punches. So you can grab the roll pin and just kind of put it in there like that. Set it up. Bring it all the way down to the cup. And you just kind of want to look on both sides, make sure the roll pin is engaging both sides of the gas block. I like to set the screws in to where there's just a little bit of drag, and then I'll fine tune the alignment. But basically it needs to be all the way back against the shoulder, and then this needs to be lined up straight. On these gas blocks there's a nice flat bottom, so you can visually get really close with just lining up the flat of this against the flat of the handguard adapter. So I'll just pull it out of here, kind of line it up just quick by eye real quick, just to where I can adjust it just a little bit. And then basically I'm just staring down this, and I can tell already that we're not lined up. So then I'll just kind of use this to kind of tweak it. So then I'll just kind of torque it just a little bit more than finger. Check my alignment again. If it's good, then I'll just kind of give it a good torque and go back and forth a couple times. So now we're going to install the muzzle device. And so what you want to do is, once you've used your crush washer, you want to grab another one. So yeah, so we'll grab another one. You slide that over and screw this guy on. I like to have it where these flats are on the side, and you need at least enough turn to give a good squish on your muzzle device. So I just do it till the wrench is vertical, like that, and that's it. Put the handguard on. So what we'll do is there's 8 screws that just go on the side. We'll just verify that there's alignment again, and then we'll put the screws in with a little bit of blue Loctite. Just first put a little Loctite on them. Just doesn't take much, just that little bit. And then I'll push back and just spin on the side ones while it's still in this block here. And I'm not really torquing them down. I'm just finger tight. Just a little bit of Loctite. I'll do both sides just to kind of get the handguard in set. Also making sure I'm pulling back on it close this gap up. There shouldn't be a gap. Once you get these 4 in, you can kind of look down the rail and see if it's still nice and lined up. So now that I get them all in a little bit more than finger tight, then I use a torque wrench. Okay, so the spec is, his final spec is 16 to 20. I like to start at 10, and I just kind of creep around the sides. And then I'll bring it up to final torque spec. And go around one more time. The whole installation for the upper is all done. So now all we gotta do is put our bolt carrier in. So this is where we talk about our cam pin. Is you have to swap out the existing cam pin with our cam pin. Now, our cam pin has this extra little piece on it, and that's to help with the timing with the side charger. With the side charger, there's some of this timing on a normal cam pin that's removed. So if you were to run a standard cam pin, if you were to forget, it would actually cycle while you were just kind of hand cycling it, but if you were to actually fire it, this cam pin would actually damage the upper and lock it all up and make it where you didn't have a very good day at the range. So what we're going to need to do is swap that out. Fairly easy. All we do is push the bolt all the way to the rear, and then we use a pick, or in this case a punch, to pull out the firing pin retainer. It looks like a little cotter pin. Then we tap out the firing pin, and then at this point we can rotate the cam pin 90 degrees and just lift it right out of there. So yeah, so you can see the difference between the regular one and our cam pin. So then we will put this in there, in the hole right there, set it in there, and then rotate it so this tab is on the outside. Then we pull the bolt forward. Next thing we do is we add the firing pin back into there, let it fall all the way down, push it all the way down. Then what we'll do is we'll take the firing pin retainer, stick it in. I like to stick it in sideways, not up and down. And then just work that guy in there. There we go. Make sure it's nice and pressed in. So now the bolt carrier is ready to go into the upper. Lift up this little tab here, put it in there, put the tab back down. Okay, so then it's easier to engage the front lug first. So once you got the first pin in, then what you want to do is push down on the tab on your little back door here that closes. Push down so that way the lower captures it, and then you can put your pin in. This door here keeps the gases from coming back into your face, especially when you're shooting suppressed. That's a big deal. So you'll know it right away when you shoot and this door's open, because all that gas will come in your face. So just push the lower down right there, or the upper down onto the lower right there, and put the pin in and you're good to go. So yeah, so now this rifle is fully converted to our side charger and our handguard, and it's ready to go.